Um, we both watched it.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Jordan, what did you think of Doctor Who? The I wasn't expecting 2 episodes. I will say that. That was a surprise.
2 episodes was nice. The first episode. So okay, before we say anything,
Well, big old spoilers, by the way.
big
Big
old
old
spoiler
spoilers.
warning. Anyone who doesn't want to hear us talk about this,
Okay, okay, what? Okay,
um,
no spoilers. Rapid. What did you think? For me,
rapid, no spoilers. I liked it. The first episode was cute. It had a lot of cute stuff in it. We'll go into details in a bit. Second episode, has interesting ties back to the toy maker stuff, um, and was fun. And I like the Doctor so far. At times, I think he's a little over the top so far. Uh, Companion is cute, fun, cute, and overall, I enjoyed it.
real fast for me. First episode so. Second episode is the better of the two. It was way more interesting. The villain is phenomenal. They are so good. They are hamming it and they are loving it. And let's get into the meat of this. So my thing with that first episode is it's
So
like
now,
the
spoilers.
now spoilers. Go watch them if you like Doctor Who. You'll have a good time, or you'll be mad that it's too woke. Whatever, I don't care. Um, do what you want. I thought the first episode was really soft. It was weirdly soft.
I mean,
Like,
technically it's the second episode,
right. I mean,
but
that was cool. I did appreciate that. No time jumps for the like none of that Stephen Moffat shit happens off screen bullshit. Like it starts off immediately where the last one left off. We're immediately into it. I will say it does get a little like the characters are standing in a room just explaining Doctor Who shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Have you never watched an
yeah,
episode of Doctor Who before? Here's everything you need to know in about 5 minutes.
because it kind of suffers from the fact that this is technically supposed to be the start of a new show.
Right, but
So
like,
like they have to retroactively explain all this
but
stuff,
again, the
which
first the first the first reboot doesn't. Right, that's my thing. Is if I'm comparing this to the first time Russell T Davies relaunched the franchise to now, he didn't feel the need to explain exactly. Like this feels like it's talking down to the audience. Like, oh, we think you're dumb, and you like even Stephen Moffat
and
when that
see,
was the first time the show had really gone to America, didn't really
yeah,
overly explain the Doctor as badly as they do in this
see,
episode.
and that's where so earlier off stream I said to you that I can feel the Disney influence.
Yeah,
That's an example of that.
yeah. There's an executive who
That's a Disney executive note being like, well, I mean, the new fans don't necessarily know all this, so
exactly.
you should probably take some time to explain this just for the people that are coming onto Disney Plus and just clicking on who have never experienced it before. You just do it.
And
Just do it. I don't
my
know why I'm doing that,
my
but
thing my thing was like, and this that it's just so like safe. Like they literally help space babies. It could not
yeah,
be, and they're fighting a monster made out of snot.
the
Like
boogeyman.
not bogeyman.
Sorry, the bogeyman.
That was funny. I
Um,
will acknowledge that was a
that
funny.
was
That
that
was a
was
funny
that was a funny
because it was
poke.
driving me crazy. I'm like, it's boogeyman. It's
The
boogeyman.
the the one thing that was driving me crazy, it was supposed to be a running gag, I get, but it didn't land for me. Was every time they would be like, "Oh, it's the babies, the space
Yeah, the
babies,"
the
and it's
space
like,
babies.
and,
Space babies!
and it's like, okay, that was funny like the first two times. Please stop.
I think it's meant to make you go like it's supposed to be like, oh, so you don't get overly like uptight about the fact that they're literally threatening the lives of babies. I think so. You're like, oh, they're not really babies, like Earth babies. They're like space baby. Although the thing was a really elaborate, on the nose metaphor for
Acceptance.
about the pro life versus pro choice stuff. That clearly that being like, oh, it's illegal to shut down baby farms, even though it's
Oh
unethical.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That's
Um,
all. Very overtly like.
like the point where what was it, where Ruby who says it, where she's like, so like they care enough that like they have to be born but not enough to take care of them when they're in the world, and it's like, okay, yeah,
And like
okay.
and
And him being like, yeah, or one of them was like, oh, like it's such a weird concept, and she's like, no, not really, and Okay. Yeah, I get
exactly.
it.
Yeah, I get it. I
I
get it.
get it.
I get what you're trying to say here. And like,
It's not subtle.
and it's just like, yeah, there's just so he has so many speeches in that episode just explaining Doctor Who. And like I will say that the bogeyman was scary, but just the resolution that it's like everything's fine and there's no real danger. And don't worry, Ruby. Like there's no real danger on a Doctor Who adventure. And it just kind of it made me feel too. It reminded me too much of the first episode, second episode of the original season 1 of Doctor Who, of New Who, where it's like, yeah, they go to the spaceship and there's, you know what I mean, like with where they first meet the flat lady. That's what this episode reminded me of, like a little too much.
That being said, I did appreciate when I think it was in the first one where he's like, the one place I will never take you to is the church to find out about your parents, because he's like that almost felt like a callback to David Tennant, where it's like, oh, he's learned.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
He's learned from Rose not to trust stupid monkeys again.
On a performance level, I love his ability to snap. Like he's serious and then he's not. So he's not serious, he's having a good time, and then when the moment needs it, boom, he's serious. But it's interesting. Yeah. I still maintain I'm a little less. Okay, well, we're gonna talk about the next one, but I know I'm who Ruby's mother is. The mystery of who Ruby's mother is. I'm not so sure it's the 13th Doctor anymore, but it is definitely someone that's connected to either to the Doctor or the Toy Maker. Like either
I maintain that I think it's the Master.
I don't think
or
it's the
mistress.
Master. I don't think it's the Master or the Mistress. I think, truthfully, I think it's Susan. I think her mom is Susan, because
Susan,
the Doctor's granddaughter, the one that he out of nowhere just mentions to remind the audience of who she is. Oh yeah, I'm also living in this time, and that bothers me, because it's like you're just like, wait. So if the original Doctor is here, why is he not? Did he not notice that music just disappeared from the world? Did he not do anything about this? Like, I understand that the show then goes out of its way to be like, it's time travel, things get messy, but like, still, like in the previous scene, you're like, yeah, he's just like down the block from here. We could go get his help. There'd be two of me. Like he's not allowed to go anywhere near other versions of himself. Why is it he all of a sudden can? Like it's well, weird.
That's where,
if not to remind you that she exists in the universe and is also a Time Lord.
That's where I think I think part of the reason why he can now is because the Toy Maker basically broke the universe.
Yeah, so that's where you're like there's a big musical number at the end. It's weird, and the song is not very good. I was forgiving of it. I said it, but the song's not very good.
In the second one.
Yeah, in the second one. Yeah.
Or third one, technically. Third episode.
Yeah. Well, no. Technically, no. This is technically episode 2, because the Christmas special is still its own thing. On Disney Plus, it's labeled as like the first episode, but it's technically, in terms of like series order, it's not. It's a special. It's its own thing. But yeah. Anyway.
So far, I think it's better than the 2 episodes.
The Christmas special?
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, I quite liked the second one. And maybe it's because they're going to a part of history I like, and it's with people in history that I'm familiar with, and I really like the bad guy. I really like the bad guy. The Maestro is so good.
Maestro. But what are you? I am music.
They're scary, they're goofy, they're silly. My one thing is, yeah, I'm being pushed a little too far with the unreality. And I understand that's the point. They're other dimensional beings that are kind of akin to Mr. Oh, I always fuck up the pronunciation.
Mr. Mixoplek.
Yeah. They're basically that. And they all come from him, right? And it's all clearly leading to a big bad one. And so I understand. I think, like, you're like, oh, I don't like I think the big musical, like, for me, it was like, oh, okay, they're making the song. But for me, the moment where I went, okay, I think we're supposed to recognize that this isn't normal, is at the end, after the musical number has concluded, and they're walking along the sidewalk, or they're walking through the Abbey Road crosswalk, and they're playing like piano on the crosswalk stripes, and neither of them are like, this is weird, that's not normal. I think that's the point. I think we're supposed to, or the fact that the maestro keeps breaking the fourth wall. I think that's the point. I think we're supposed to be like, this is not normal. This is weird. This doesn't belong. Like, I think that sense of,
I mean, I don't disagree. I just, Disney bought Doctor Who or got rights or whatever is doing it, and now the show has just a whole bunch of music, and it's like,
but it's not a whole bunch.
Maybe
it's not a whole
it
bunch.
is.
It's two musical. It's two musical numbers. It's two. It's not a whole bunch. It's two.
It is.
That two is not a whole bunch. One more maybe.
When all you have is 3 episodes, yes, that means that it's most of the show so far.
I mean, but again, it's
so
not,
again, yes,
not.
they have the right, they have the time to step out of that, but from what we have so far, yes.
And I don't know. I mean,
it is a lot.
And this one,
and so it just unless there is a point to it story wise, it just feels like they're doing it for the sake of doing it.
No, there's definitely a point to it story wise. That I would say. It's deliberate.
And it's not working for me.
Especially because there's a lot of really interesting lines, but the Doctor makes a joke about how that I don't imagine you got, and I didn't even get to explain this when we did our episode with Haley, but he said when he's trying to figure out what the chord to banish the maestro is, and he's playing the song, and he's like, oh, I thought that would be non-diegetic. That's funny. If you're familiar with musicals, there's 2 types of music in movies. There's 2 types of music in movies. There's diegetic and non-diegetic. Diegetic is like music that you hear within the narrative. So a song that a character is playing in the moment. So like Bohemian Rhapsody, the big concert, that's diegetic. Non-diegetic, exact opposite of that. So when a character, like in a movie musical,
so basically what happened in the episode.
Yes.
Diegetic would be the Doctor playing it. Non-diegetic with John Lennon and Paul McCartney playing it.
No, that is diegetic because they're playing the piano to banish. The non-diegetic would be
they're not playing it to banish it. They have no idea what's going on.
No.
They were just playing the piano.
No. That's what I'm saying. So an example of non-diegetic would be the big musical number at the end of the episode, where all the characters start singing and dancing and nobody addresses it or acknowledges it. So basically like...
Oh, so non-diegetic is basically a big-lipped alligator moment.
Or no, it's more just like a traditional musical number in it. You know, in the musical, everyone stops what they're doing in the movie. They all start singing and dancing and then they go back to what they're doing. So like...
Yeah, so a big-lipped alligator moment.
No, it's not a big-lipped alligator moment. It's more like Grease. An example of a non-diegetic song would be Summer Lovin'. So far, and from the perspective of the characters in the movie, they are not singing a song. They are merely having a conversation. But to us as the audience, we are seeing it as a song. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm wondering if the fact that they had a non-diegetic number at the end of this episode is intentional, and if there's another being manipulating, like this one who waits. I will say there's some really goofy, like when the maestro gets pulled back into the piano and takes a beat to be like, beware the one who waits. I'm like, yeah, that's goofy. That's silly.
They're all related to the toy maker though, so.
Well, yeah, but is the one who waits the toy maker's boss? That's the question.
No, because from the sounds of it, they're all the children of the toy maker.
I'm wondering if the one either the Ruby's mom is either the one who waits, or I think the one who waits is Susan. I think it's gonna turn out Susan will come back and it'll be like she's a time lady and she's regenerated a bunch, and that'll be the reasoning for why she looks different. It's so weird to me that she looks like the 13th Doctor. That's so weird to me.
Maybe, but I don't know who. If so. That feels like a deep cut reference because I have no idea who that is.
I mean, no, yes and no. It's not really. I mean, she's the first companion. So from the very first Doctor Who, I mean, she's a Doctor's granddaughter from the very first season of Doctor, not very first season, but she was there for a while. So no, it wouldn't be a deep cut. It might be for like more casual Doctor Who fans, but for even no, it wouldn't be that deep of a cut. But again, it's weird that they would just he's never this is the first time they've ever mentioned her in Modern Who. Like they've never mentioned her, at least in my recollection.
Clearly, because I had no idea who it was. Who they were talking about.
Because her existence in the universe is messy. Because the show otherwise is like he's this lone figure, but it's like he's this lone figure, but he has a granddaughter. Because initially, in the original concept of the show, and especially in the first few episodes, they're not aliens. They're just time travelers. Like it's sort of implied that they're humans from the future. Like they're not actually aliens from another planet. Those were details that were added later, and along with the regeneration to Hearts of the Works. So I think it might turn out that it's very, very interesting how this person, whether or not the Doctor, I thought it was the Doctor knew her, but clearly not. So she knows the Doctor though, for some reason. She turns around and she now points at the Doctor in the memory. The memory is not changed.
which is why I think that it's a future version of the Master.
I don't think so. No,
because the Master would know the Doctor.
That connection's too loose. Again, they're gonna have to.
I don't think so, considering they've already set her up.
No, and they've made it pretty clear they don't really have an interest in doing the Master again. But no, I don't think it will be.
I mean, they set her up.
I think it. No, I don't think they remotely have. I think
they have.
No.
Didn't the person have the ring which brought her back?
Oh, right. In that regard, yeah. Sorry, yeah, they did. I thought you meant something different. But yes, you're right. She did technically pick it up. No, I don't think. I think it's probably gonna end up being this one who waits is gonna end up being Ruby's mom, and it's gonna be like Ruby has some sort of magical powers or whatever, and she's gonna end up having the reality distorting power. I think this is going to turn to one of those situations where the resolution of this is way less interesting than anything that people have come up with, and that sucks.
Probably. That's usually how these things go.
But yeah, it was okay. Don't expect one of these every week, because I can't do unless something big and exciting happens.
I mean, maybe every 2 episodes.
Yeah, maybe every 2 episodes. Who knows?
So we can do like what we just did here, where we do 2 episodes at once.